Okay, everyone. Today we're reviewing Tapatío Salsa Roja chicken bowl. Now, the instructions are fairly easily. Cut film to vent, cook 3 minutes, replace film, cook 1 minute on high. I've done that already, and it's here. Now, portion-wise, it's a pretty good portion. It has 20 grams of protein, apparently. That's pretty good. A lot of sodium, and I still, it's like 50% of your daily value. Not, like, I add salt to it because, it enhances the flavor a little bit, and then I also add, any hot sauce would do. You got, this, you got so many you can use, so it's no real big deal, but I do think it enhances it, gives it more heat. But I gotta be honest, I think as taste goes, it's lower down on the board. I've had it before, but I had these before, and then I retried them because they were on sale, and so is this why I got them, and they were a lot better. So I was like, okay, maybe Tapatío, they were just rolling it out. Maybe they got a little better. They perfected it a little bit. Maybe the enchiladas, but not these bowls. I think the sauce really saves those enchiladas. And there's not enough sauce here. And we're left with like rice that's still a little hard, chicken that's not flavorful. I'm not a big fan of corn, but I'm not getting any flavors, to be honest. It just kind of tastes like mush. And like, I feel like that's a big constraint of a lot of frozen foods, is they taste like mush. And a good frozen food won't taste like mush. And then, just mush in different flavors. Mexican flavor mush. Mac and cheese mush. So it's like, how much is what's the mush to flavor ratio? And I would say this is more mush than flavor. And this is after adding hot sauce and salt. Before, even worse, but you gotta add salt. I mean, these companies do not care. I mean, they just don't taste good out of the box. You gotta really add stuff to them. You might be asking why you're drinking straight out of the bottle. Because I can, and it's my bottle. I'm the only one who uses it. But I don't know. And you can taste some individual ingredients, and that's that's a high quality frozen food, Like, I can taste some corn. Unfortunately, I don't like corn, but... And actually, you know what? Before I eat this corn, it has char marks. I don't know if you can see that. But that's kind of impressive. I haven't seen that before in a frozen meal. And I'm kind of a big frozen food head. The chicken is kind of mid. I think the chicken really holds this back, and I think the rice really holds it back. One thing I was surprised about is, I think the veggies in here are really nice. It's clear they have fresh veggies in here, or fresh as can be in a frozen meal. But like, look at that. That's a real chunk of pepper. I'm sure it's poblano. It's a poblano, but still. Real chunk. Poblano is a good pepper. I like a poblano. I'd rather it be jalapeno or serrano, but I think a poblano is a fine pepper. I think a serrano would have added more spice, which this desperately needs. I'm watching Kitty right now. She's just scrambling around. But yeah, I don't know. I just think this needs more. Grilled chicken and rice bowl with pinto beans, roasted corn, Monterey Jack cheese, I taste no cheese. And that's a I know cheese is expensive, but give me a cheese flavor. It doesn't have to be real cheese. It can be fake cheese. Just give me cheese flavor. Like, what about real cheese and then mixing in like some fake cheese flavor? I think that would go a long way. I'm not saying it's bad. Normally this retails at like $5.40 something. I gotta buy one get one, so it's like $2.50, so it's a lot better. At $2.50 it's worth it. $5, hell no. They don't give you a lot either. I would say these at $5 are like, if you it's not an every time thing, but if you want to treat yourself a little bit, maybe. Treating yourself with a frozen meal is a little sad, but you know, sometimes you got to do it. But at $2.50 these are a must buy. I bought out the stock because they were that good. They're really good. I cannot suggest these enough. They will be on the next review. But I mean, and like, I'll be, I'm already eating so much of this, but I don't really want to crack open another one. I'll probably get hungry later, so maybe I will. It honestly isn't that mushy. It just doesn't have that enough flavor. Which honestly, it's not too much mush, I guess. I mean, I guess that's okay. I don't know, because you can taste individual bits. There's clearly real corn, real poblano. It does have a savory red sauce, but I don't think they use enough. Because that rice really... The thing is, the rice and the chicken really hold it back. I'm not looking at a script, I'm just looking at it because I forget what it's called. I think the rice and the chicken really hold it back. I don't think they're good. I know rice is hard to do in a frozen meal, and I understand, but just don't do it at that point. There's the rice. It's not bad, but it's not good rice. I mean, but I would say the chicken is worse. The chicken just... I don't know. Honestly, like, okay, that looks kind of good because it has the hot sauce I put on it, but... And it tastes like chicken, it just doesn't taste like good chicken. So I would say this is kind of like maybe a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10. Out of the box, maybe a 4 out of 10. So out of box, 4 out of 10. With salt and hot sauce, I would say maybe a 5.5. It's not bad, honestly. It just, I think at $2.50, I think it's an okay get. I think if you want it, get it. If you got like 3 of the enchiladas and you want one more to get the deal, although you don't have to do, pick one up. They don't have the enchiladas, but you want like a little like Mexican inspired dish, I think it's okay. Now, more so to the manufacturing process, I think there's a missed opportunity. This is a Tapatío brand, which props to them for making frozen food. They, known for their hot sauce. Apparently, this is their About Us, started in 1971. I don't really give a shit, to be honest. But, I wish they would have included a little hot sauce pack. Maybe even 2. I think, that would cost them, 30 cents, maybe? But I think it would go a long way. I think, you introduce more people to your hot sauce. And I think it really helps out the meal. I mean, I think it would go a long way, and I don't think it would cost them that much. So I do think they should do that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the more I eat it, the more I like it, though, to be honest. It's still not good. Like, but maybe it's a 6, right? Which, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty decent for a frozen meal. My big complaint is there's no cheese flavor whatsoever. I honestly literally can't believe this has cheese in it. There's cilantro on here and there's lime in here. No flavors of that whatsoever in the meal. Not enough red sauce. I think it could really benefit from that. And then the grilled chicken and rice don't taste good. I mean, I know those are hard to do in a frozen meal, and I get it, but at the same time, 550 price point is insane. And you gotta like if you want that, if you want a 550 price point for this size, you have to establish yourself more. And I can open this up just so we can take a look out of it. But you gotta establish yourself more. Here it is. And then, it's not a bad amount. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it is, but I just think at 550, either give us more or give us better flavor. And they're doing neither. So I would say at 550 it's a do not buy. At 250 I would consider it. If you're feeling in the mood for it, I would consider it. It's a mid-tier frozen meal. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's it. Okay, I finished the meal and I have a couple more thoughts. I think this could really benefit from like a Roma tomato mixed in. I think you would get a more saucy flavor. I think tomatoes, they freeze really well. They're a vegetable. Vegetables freeze really well. And, they've proved that with the poblanos and the corn. And then as much as I hate corn, this is decent corn, honestly. It's a nice corn flavor. It's not too sweet. And that's a big complaint I have about corn. It's too sweet. But I think a nice tomato flavor, I think it would help up for the lack of sauce. And I think it would make it like a little, I just help it with, I think it would help with the flavor. And then, tomatoes are healthy. I think people would like that. Very famous for being in Mexican cuisine. I think it'd be good. I really do. I cannot tell a lie. I think tomatoes would be good in it. I know not everyone likes tomatoes, but I think your clientele that doesn't like tomatoes and is buying like a Mexican like inspired frozen meal dish. I mean, who are we targeting, right? So I think adding like a Roma tomato in there, I think that would go a long way. And then, maybe take out some of the rice. I really do think the rice is a big problem. Or go back to the drawing board on the rice. Like, find a new way to fucking freeze it. And this is to all fucking frozen food brands. Fix your rice. Rice is good. Who doesn't love rice? But actually, the Indian brands. I forgot what brand it is specifically, but their rice is pretty decent. Like, it's not great, but it's frozen. It's frozen meal, and it's pretty good. It's like, okay. I mean, like, I would eat it by itself. But obviously, like the tikka masala sauce, the chicken vindaloo sauce, whatever, it helps a ton. But like, you already have a sauce in here, so that would help it a ton. And maybe we're heating it separately because that's what they do, and then we mix it in. I would be fine with that, even though it's a little extra work. If the product is better because of it, I think that's a better. I forget the name of it. Let me pull it up. Okay, Saffron Road. I think Saffron Road really has, at least that I've tried, has had the best rice in the frozen food game. I'm not saying they're good rice, right? Like, it's not like the best rice I've ever had, but also like no frozen food is the best I've ever had. So like comparing it on that scale is stupid. I do think it's the best frozen rice I've had, and I do think it's pretty good rice. I think I've had like regular rice, like normally cooked, not frozen. Um, that's worse, and I think that's a big accomplishment. I think that's one of the best things a frozen meal can do is be better than like low quality um non-frozen food. I think that's the best thing, and maybe not the best thing can do, but like one of the one of the big stepping stones to having a good frozen meal. I do think there is a peak to what a frozen meal can be, and I do think it's around that. I like, I don't know, but I think heating it separately, maybe a longer grain helps, a thicker grain, like I don't know, and like sure, maybe it's a little weird with the Mexican inspired, frozen meal, but I feel like it would work. It's so rice is rice, it's fine. Maybe it's a little weird, but you'll get used to it. And they also season their rice. That's a huge thing. They season it. There's like fucking like I don't know what they season it with, to be honest, but they season it and it's so good. Like I'll be eating that seasoning, and then there's like there's like an oil or something they put on it, and that really helps as well. That oil is really tasty. I'm kind of just ranting about the other one, but Saffron Road is one of the better frozen meals, I would say. They're a little pricey. I do think maybe they are worth it at that price point, but I won't buy them at that price point because I just can't get behind buying a frozen meal for that much. But I do think when they're on sale, they're a must buy, and they are what I go to. I check the grocery store aisle for them. But yeah, I think implementing that, heating the rice separately, I think that would be a big number one. Maybe you could do it in like in the way the steamers do it, the lean cuisine steamers. Maybe that way. I don't know if that's I don't know how that would work, to be honest, but the point is, I think, maybe if you're heating the rice and the other stuff separately, I think that could help. Maybe adding some tomatoes, maybe adding some beans. I'm not a big bean fan, but I don't know, maybe that would help. Yeah, and maybe just enhancing that sauce flavor so it's a little more pungent. Maybe swapping the poblanos out for serranos, but I know they're not going to give us serranos. I'll settle for jalapenos. I love a jalapeno. I love a poblano too. That's no knocking to the poblano. I just want a spicier pepper. A poblano is not spicy. Not like a serrano is super spicy, but like it is spicier. And I do think, like I don't want a fucking habanero in there. Even though I do like habaneros, I just don't want it in there. Yeah, so I guess that's my thoughts. I think it's a good starting point though, for a sauce brand to come out of the field and just this be their first of frozen meals. I think they've done their research. I really do. I think it's a great first attempt. And I honestly do have to applaud Tapatío for really putting in the work and creating a frozen meal that's good, not great, like a fine frozen meal for one of them, and a really high quality other one. I cannot stress that enough, honestly. Like, the enchilada ones are really fucking good.